introduce the next speaker who apparently, I have this, if you're a speaker at the conference, you get an email from me telling you that there are no PowerPoints and that you should be engaging the audience and connecting. And of course, this gentleman, Adam Bellow, did the opposite. He's going to be sharing with us the Tech Commandments, thou shalt, and he's doing it with 140 slides. So we'll see how he does. Keep it at 15 minutes, starting now. No, wait, Adam, come on, Adam, come on. Now reset it. Give it up. Give it.
Thank you.
All right, you got your 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I see the clock is ticking, so let's just get started. Thank you very much, Jeff. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for having this wonderful, wonderful meeting of the minds, this great conference. So my name is Adam Bellow. This is the Tech Commandments. Hi. So me in 30 seconds, real fast. When I was a little kid, I wanted to be Superman. That's me. Cute. So much so that when I was in the second grade, I wrote a letter to Ronald Reagan saying that I wanted to rid the world of nuclear weapons just like they did in Superman 4. I realized that wasn't going to work out exactly the way I had planned, so I still decided I wanted to be someone that makes a difference in this world, someone that could be a superhero of sorts. So I said, I'm going to be a teacher. It is the best of times to be a teacher, but it is the worst of times to be a teacher for every reason that you know, every reason you've read about in the paper, and every reason you've experienced in your classroom and from the slack you get from all the people you deal with. I didn't become a teacher for the money, and I don't think you did either. I didn't become a teacher for summer vacation. I became a teacher because I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to, as I said, change the world. The point of this talk is not to get anyone upset, not to point fingers, but this is to talk about something that will ignite some conversations, get us talking on Twitter, through social media, and face-to-face, which is a wonderful opportunity that we have today. Thank you to Jeff and Chris. So the state of now, I think of it, it's the state of Twitter. Everything's happening so quickly, you have to kind of take yourself back and think. I have some great people in my network. These are some of the local people. But the beautiful thing about Twitter that I find so amazing is that we have people from every walk of education. We have principals. We have engaged superintendents. We have teachers, librarians, everybody you could possibly imagine, parents, students. The beautiful thing about it is I was frightened to go speak to the superintendent when I was a teacher. Now I tweet some of the best superintendents out there because they're engaged in social media and they'll tell me the greatest things and give me advice. I mean, this is a great platform for all of us to level the playing field. I have some small proof of how social media has helped me and how I have understood how amazing social media can be. I run a very small free website called Edutaker. It's to find free web tools for teachers. And last year we ran a campaign called the Change the World campaign. It was a charity campaign. It was a social experiment of sorts. I basically tweeted out saying that if you come to my website and click on this penny, now again, the site's 100% free, it's ad-free, so I wasn't benefiting from this. If you click on this penny, I will donate a penny on your behalf to a charity that will then later crowdsource. So 28,000 clicks later, and that was all through Twitter and through people sending messages. I sent out a QR code that people hung up in their classrooms. This actually is hanging up in Eric Schenniger's high school, New Milford High School. He'll be here tomorrow. Someone took a picture of the QR code and sent it to me. So change matters. Whether you're sending out a tweet or whether you're clicking on a penny, you are doing good by sharing on social media. Now, I'm going to be preaching to the choir with these Tech Commandments. I'm aware of that. But I need to tell you my perspective. I'm telling you through my failures and through my stories what I find to be wrong with education right now and how we could really try to turn it around. If it's not the way it is in your school, you're lucky. In 1985, I remember being a student learning how to use the Apple II. We sat in a classroom that looked like this. Computers, they all had rooms. The lab. Learning was for the classroom, but experimenting was for the lab, right? We did things like this. We learned how to program Logo, Turtle, because the Russians were coming, and we had to program the little kids to know how to build. Yes, this is, and we also played educational titles like this. We had Oregon Trail, You Have Died of Dysentery, Shooting Up Math Blasters, and Fighting Crime. This was educational technology. Okay. Flash forward 14 years, I find myself somehow in the classroom. Computers are chained to the desks. They look like this. In a classroom where there's 12 students, there's only 2 or 3 computers. Today we have devices that look like this. You're obviously all on them right now. I see a lot of people looking down, illuminated by a glow. We know you're on these devices. We can't trap technology in a lab. I want to get rid of all the labs. People say, oh, Adam, I'm the director of educational technology for 18 schools. I work for the College Board. We run schools. And essentially, people say, oh, I want to build a lab. And I say, why? The point is, mobile technology, that's what we need. We need to get these kids to be able to move from room to room. We shouldn't be using this like a special, like we're dropping them off at gym. Okay, so Chris, this is Chris, you all know Chris, and he has one of my favorite quotes, and I'll let him say it himself.
I think that technology these days must be like oxygen, ubiquitous, necessary, and invisible.
I've used that quote for a long time because I really think that there's nothing truer than that. Let's switch gears a little bit, though. I'm running out of time. I see my clock ticking away. Let me ask you a question. Would you buy a car for someone that didn't know how to drive? I mean, it's a little rhetorical. And would you put your students rather in that car without the trained driver? Of course not. We have to shift the way we think. We have to stop throwing away our money on stuff. Look, especially without the proper guidance. Training is absolutely essential, and the training has to be quality and it has to be continuous, and this is messed up. There's something very wrong with this picture. This is an actual picture. Yes, I did not doctor this. I was taking a tour of one of our schools, and this is what I saw. So obviously I fixed that. The technology fairy comes in many cases. They drop off all this stuff because we have all the money in the world to buy stuff, right? Talking about smartboard, not picking on you, smart, but hey. So technology fairy comes, drops off a smartboard. The magical man comes in, gives you like an hour show. Look, you can do this, you can do that. You can move it over here. You can engage the students by this. And then they leave. That's not PD. That's a magic show, and it's a farce. And the fact that we do that once a year, training our teachers on how to use this stuff, is a freaking joke. What happens to that? Of course, we just had a speaker allude to it. She stole my joke. We have this. Or even worse than that, we have this. And there's nothing worse than that, having $4,000 of hardware sitting in a room collecting dust. I've actually seen these things with Post-it notes on them. Training needs to be a constant, and training needs to be supported. Teachers need the support, and it has to be constant. Okay, so, and when I mean constant, it has to be a priority. We can't just do PD on superintendent conference days or once a day before the summer starts or, before vacations. We need to keep using this stuff. If we want to buy technology, we need to support it both by staff trainers and also by giving them time. Because educational technology, as I said, is not about stuff. But speaking of stuff, you want to hear a joke? Money is tight, right? We're all complaining about budgets. Okay, so the kids are bringing all their technology to school with them, and we put up signs like this, right? We put up signs that, please turn off and put away all electronic devices, hung proudly on the door of one of the schools I used to work in. Imagine this was on your door. Of course, you would not stand for it. You'd rip it off, and you'd tweet about how annoying it was. I've also watched in schools in New York City, students file through 45 minutes through metal detectors. And yes, they're looking for weapons, but what they're really doing is taking all their cell phones away, putting them in little bags, and marking them with their names so they can get them back at the end of the day. That is something very wrong. We could be doing something better with their time. We're spending their time poorly. In a meeting with the state ed department, I heard a quote, and I said this. I won't say who said it, but it was someone high up in the state ed department of New York. 2012 is going to be a nightmare. It's going to be the worst year yet. We're putting all our money into Race to the Top. We are really, really banking on something scary. These devices are replacing every single item we can possibly have in school. There's a lot of things we can replace by using tools and not toys. But yet we tell them to keep them home or we take them away from them. It's absolutely ridiculous. Either that or we give them antiquated hardware. So we'll put in a laptop lab of, not picking on you, but ThinkPads. And all the keys are popped off because the kids like to make necklaces out of them. And a kid said to me, I use my BlackBerry because they're more reliable and they're faster. And that's a frightening fact. Being an iPhone man, that scares me. So why don't we do this? Well, I heard some reasons. Teacher once told me, and I swear to God this is true, she said, I'm not the smartest person anymore if they bring their technology in the room. Well, guess what? You're not. And that's totally fine. You're not the smartest person anymore. We have to learn how to be facilitators and not teachers. Teachers are not filling up the students. We're not filling the vessels with knowledge anymore. We're all drinking from the same tap, people. Or should I say hose? Okay. And I must say that any teacher can be replaced by a robot. Should be. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So all right. Thank you. You're clicking away my minutes. Clap at the end. So we're talking about safety over here. So safety. Safety, we're talking about safety, we talk about predators. Yes, predators are a real threat, but what do? We play make-believe. Our solution to that is that we block everything. Hanging, literally, my office door was to the right of this painting. It was a mural in the school, access denied. It was a big FU to the district, and it truthfully is how all the students felt about having all the technology taken. Let me tell you, folks, as you already know, the world is not a sterile place, no matter how much we want it to be or how much we pretend that it is. We have to train these students to live in the real world, because guess what? That's actually where they live. If you had 1,000,000 years to do it in, you couldn't rub out half the blank U signs in the world. It's impossible. Holden Caulfield, written how long ago? Long time. Teachers are getting frustrated. They feel like they're being handcuffed. They'll go and find great resources at home, and they can't use them because of SIPA, COPA, FERPA. How many of you know what all those mean and know every single thing about them? Right. So the point is that we don't understand these laws, and Lisa alluded to it before. The truth is we need to really rethink all this stuff. I have an acronym I like to use, AAD. Acronyms are dangerous. And I also like ACBD. Acronyms can be dangerous. We have to understand what we're talking about, folks, and we have to insist. Why do we insist on banging our heads against the wall? The irony of all this stuff is that the kids are bringing all the things we block to school with them in their pockets. And if they're taken away at the school door, they still have access at home. And what's more important than teaching them how to use these things? I'll talk about the F word. What's the F word? Nope, sorry. F word actually is anyone? Fear. So social media, social networking gets everyone scared. Facebook, Twitter, fear. Tech directors are shaking in their boots because they don't want to be on the cover of the front page of their local newspaper for having a student meet someone in a parking lot, or God forbid, conversing with other people online, broadening the horizons. But people say to me all the time in these schools, how do I get on YouTube? How do I get on Facebook? How do I get on Twitter? And the answer, of course, is always, ask the kids. The kids know, it's in their DNA. They have to know. They have proxies up the yin-yang. It's great. So the argument always makes me think of why we go to school. Why do we go to school? Why do we go there? We go there to educate, right? So I looked that up in the dictionary, and the dictionary says that it's the activities that impart knowledge or skill. So here's the irony of that. Instead of doing that, we do this. Did anyone do this when they were a kid? I did this. Yes, I learned, first of all, I was an Indian, which of course is the politically correct term, right? So I was an Indian, I sat down next to my pilgrims, and we had a nice meal. Then I read this book, and it didn't really, I filled in the gaps in between, and I know this book is not necessarily the most factually correct thing in the world, but we teach our kids inaccuracies. We're playing make-believe with them. We need to start doing our real job and actually educating them. There's a buzzword ahead, be careful. Lifelong learner. Guess what? It's not just referring to the students, and again, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but it's referring to all of us. We have to really start thinking about it as us continuing to be lifelong learners. And when I'm saying this speech, you could play it for the people that are in the seats next to you, or rather the empty seats next to you where you wish your blank from your school was sitting next to you. So danger, new tools equating to passing fads. We have to start realizing that how can we possibly produce 21st century learners using the tools from the 20th century? It's a joke. On the other hand, would you want your dentist to have the same philosophy? I don't think so. The flip side of that coin is we can't jump all in and we have to avoid rather the bleeding edge. Because there's a problem sometimes. I know a lot of schools, first of all, Steve Jobs, if my paycheck can go directly to Apple, I would definitely do it because it winds up there eventually. But I will tell you that schools I used to work with bought, en masse, iPads. Oh, they're sexy, they're hot, they're cool, they have apps. Well, what are you going to do with it? Well, we're going to take attendance through the web. That's really not necessarily a great use of spending $700 per hour. Yes. So schools need direction, and you and myself, hopefully, are going to be that direction. And what happens if we fail? Well, we're all going to laugh at you. No, we have to be like the kids. We have to be stubborn, be resilient. Failure is okay. Failure is how we learn, people. That's okay. We saw a great bike riding video before. Another buzzword coming up. Good digital citizenship. So here's good digital citizenship. Let's put our money where our mouth is. We have to get past this. We are raising the cut and paste generation. Teach these students how to be good digital citizens, not just talk about it as a buzzword. Actions speak louder than buzzwords. And what are the answers? Well, sorry, it's not that easy. The money thing is easy. I mean, as I said, I run a free website for teachers finding free web tools. I think we could solve a lot of the money problems by using free tools as a replacement. Avoiding some of the pitfalls when people tell you they can't use these tools in the classroom. Here we go. Sometimes tools disappear. Oh well, guess what? When a tool dies, next thing you know, someone comes around and takes its place. That's just a fact. Sometimes tools, God forbid they want to make money, for free becomes not so free. Guess what? The tool is replaced by one that is free. Have a plan B. You're a teacher, you're an educator, roll with the flow. That's what we do. If the pencil breaks, you get another pencil, you just move on. And the bottom line is that there are negatives to using these tools, and people will tell you all the time, well, we can't use Facebook in schools, we can't use Twitter, we can't use any of these tools because they're dangerous. Well, guess what? The positives from those far outweigh the negatives, and you know the list. I don't have to sit here and tell you the list of all this. Just kidding. So, yeah, have a sense of humor. We got to lighten up. It's school, people. Stuff goes wrong all the time. Attend and be part of meaningful PD. And here we are at the 140. Thank you, Jeff. This is meaningful PD. We are connecting with people all over the world right now. And people always ask my advice. They said, what's the best PD? Is it a conference that you go to? I mean, I love the ISTE conference, all these great conferences I go to. I said, no, the best PD I actually attend all year is on Twitter or on YouTube. It's ironic, isn't it, that those are the two things we block in almost every school in America? Yeah. So the key is that collaboration, in my mind, is the 21st century skill. And that's what we talk about with social media. That's what we talk about all these tools. Collaboration is the way we have to work together, and our students will learn to work together in the future. That is going to be the most important thing we can teach them. We have to stop doing this, stop pointing the finger, saying the damn kids with the damn cell phones, with the damn Facebook, with the damn... Stop it. Stop it now and start doing this. And when we talk about who's at the table, there's administrators there, sure. Bring teachers there. Guess what? Novel idea, and this is something that Chris has demonstrated. Bring students there. It was so wonderful to hear from actual students. And it was also wonderful to hear from parents. Bring the factors of the people that you're making decisions for, that those in your schools are making decisions for. Bring them to the table and discuss this, because change will not come if we wait for some other person some other time. We are the change we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. And that is one of my favorite quotes from Obama. There is no finish line. We have to explore, share, contribute, and keep going. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to change the world. I want to share things with you. That's what Twitter's all about, is sharing. Someone, I think Mary Beth actually, just tweeting out before, what do you do with Twitter? I use Twitter to share, to contribute to this community, because the social education community is growing, it is strong, it is vocal, it is genius, dedicated, aligning, and it is really going to make a difference. It is not about us, though. Here's the joke. It's not about us. We're sitting in a room of educators, adults. It's not about us. It's about them. It's about the kids. It's about my children, because I have super kids and I want them to grow up in a world where they are able to collaborate and contribute. That's what I want for them. My son has a Twitter account. Don't follow him. My wife doesn't want me to tweet for him anymore. But anyway, my wish for all of us, I have a few seconds left. My wish for all of us is as follows. We have to stay curious. We have to stay lifelong learners. Stay thirsty. We have to continue to change the world. Thank you guys very, very much. Thank you.
Wow. Wow.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Stay here.
Oh,
Wow.
thank you.
Enjoy it.
I'm enjoying it. Thank
Wow.
you. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you very
You
much.
got me. That was great.
I tried. Thank you very much,
Thank
Jeff.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Wow. Wow. Okay. He did it. 140 slides and just wow. Wow. How do you touch that? Wow. All right. Well, thank you guys having fun. Yeah, you are. I really words really are behind.